Hi, Sean, it's Mark. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sean, you've had two positive results in your last two Premier League matches, clean sheet against Arsenal, clean sheet against Watford. How do you now build upon those clean sheets and turn them into 3 points moving forward?
Yeah, that's exactly the challenge. We had to get back to basics when we had a period of injuries and COVID, which we did do against Arsenal. Slightly more open against Watford, trying to win the game, quite obviously, but still a clean sheet and looked solid. And it's developing from that, from doing the basics very well and bringing that little bit of freedom. Now, that sometimes comes with results, of course, but you've got to work hard to get the result in the first place. So, trying to build on the basics, build on the basic principles of what we do, stay believing in the fact that we will score goals. We haven't done as brilliantly as we'd hoped, quite obviously. And that's the next challenge, to build on a strong base, but adding the quality needed to score goals.
Up next, Manchester United. Probably would have been a challenging game, whatever results you'd had leading into it. From your analysis, what have you learned about Ralph's side, how they play and how they set up? And from the outside, it just feels like they're lacking confidence and a unity at the moment.
Well, you hope that if they are, that comes into play, but you can't guarantee it. They've still got some very, very big players and very well-recognised players with real quality. There's a bit of noise for many different reasons around Manchester United at the minute and the club and what's going on there. But at the end of the day, the whistle blows and you've got to take on the reality in front of you. And that's a group of very good players. I thought we performed really well at their place, actually. And late on, we created two or three really big chances, and I think statistically, it was one of our stronger performances there, particularly with chances created and quality of chances created. But we didn't get the win. So we've got to build on that mentality and build on the base that I've just mentioned and then go into the game with a real positive attitude to take Manchester United on.
The fact that you have played them so recently, does that make it easier in terms of your preparation? Because, if you play someone 6 months apart, it can be a completely different team dynamic, formation, set of players. But the fact that there's that recent match with them, does that help you?
And you can look at it either way, because on the other hand, they've had a bit more time to work with the manager. The manager's trying to get his thoughts across and his staff thoughts as well, I'm sure. Bits of indifferent periods, but they're still, like I say, he's still, whatever way you look at it, they've still got real quality. They did show their moments. They did find a couple of big moments against us in the game at their place. But I think we can build on that mentality from that performance and the last couple. But no, you've got to be ready. It's still Manchester United. They've still got some very good players, some very good individuals. I know they've got a couple missing because of COVID coming back from the Nations Cup. But, they've still got good players. So it's one of them that I don't think you can overthink the challenge around them at the minute, because you've still got to be aware that they've still got some very good players. Equally, try and bring our game to the fore and at home at Turf with our fan base there and kind of make it feel different for them, make it feel awkward for them. I think that's our job and that's what we intend to do.
What's the team news in terms of the Burnley side of things? How are you looking with regards to players and COVID?
Yeah, we're okay with that at the moment. We're still waiting. Johan Gudmundsson's making a good recovery from appendicitis, but he's still going to be, obviously, probably a few weeks. Vince the same, coming back from his hernia that needed doing. Barnes is coming back. He might get around the group. He still needs more game time, but he's been training with us for 3 or 4 weeks now. So he's up to kind of general speed. Maxwell will get fitter and sharper. That will get more used to what we do. So there's some strong side. Charlie Taylor's probably still going to miss this one. He's getting closer, but I think he'll miss this one. There's some coming back, some frustrating, obviously, that we can't quite get them back at this moment. But we're just got to keep working.
And finally, from me, Sean, you've been in football for a long time. You've faced many, many challenges. This current challenge you've got at the moment, trying to keep Burnley in the Premier League, the window's now closed. That can't affect anything. What can you do personally? What experiences can you draw on from your own footballing career, both as a manager and a player, to try and pull the club away from where they are at the moment in the league?
Well, we often remind the players of the good values they've got, the ability they've got, the way that we work. We also remind them of the experiences we've had. It doesn't guarantee the future, but we have been down this road before. We're actually 1 point better off at this stage than we were a couple of seasons ago. So, it's a clear sign that we can turn things around, and we have done in the past. Some of the stats and facts in the second half of our seasons, which have generally been strong, certainly physically strong. Slightly more challenging with a different game schedule, but we've done that before through the back of COVID. And the mentality, to keep working and keep sort of almost forcing ourselves to go and win games. That's what we've done in the past, and it needs all noses pointing in the right direction. I still think we are pointing in the right direction. We've got to have detail, and the players know that. So there's a balanced view to what we're trying to achieve. They know it's a challenge. We know that. We have been down this road before, but we've got to work hard to change things around. So the basics will always be about the hard work ethic, the belief, and the desire to go and make things happen rather than wait for them to turn.
Thanks, Sean. All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. James Cooper.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Hello, James. I haven't seen you for a while, kid.
How are you? All right?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Same old.
Kind of.
How big a word is belief? You've used it a couple of times when there is this kind of noise going on, and you know that people are saying that this is the time it all changes at Burnley, and you don't get out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, we've had that 3 or 4 times during my time here. When the same stories have been going around, and we've proved different, obviously. So, let's say there's a balance to all these situations. I think there is belief in what we do, and I think we're showing that in performances. We know the details have been the biggest difference in this season has purely been the details. Getting on the right side of big moments, scoring and taking chances, conceding a couple of sloppy goals, not loads, but a couple of sloppy ones that have been, really affected the outcome of a game. So I think there is a balance to what's happened this season, but of course we've got to correct that. We're the only ones, myself, the manager, the staff, and the players. We're the only ones that can correct it and change our fortunes going forward.
And how much of an advantage is it looking around that dressing room and knowing that you've got players you can count on who've done exactly what you've talked about, not only this season but seasons previous?
Yeah, I mean, we don't over-egg it with them. They're aware of the situation, but we do remind them of the fact that we've come through periods when we've worked very hard, we've been calm, we've stuck to what we believe in, and delivered what we believe in. And I still think that's important, because when we do that, I still think we're certainly a side that can compete in the Premier League. So we've got to keep doing that with that mentality and add in the moments of quality, and that's what we're looking to do.
You mentioned the word awkward and being more awkward at Turf Moor. Is that one of the kind of mission statements going ahead with these 19 games, these 9 home games, 9 away games, to make Turf Moor that sort of place that people don't want to come? Because you'd admit yourself you haven't got the points that you would expect to get at home yet.
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think there's any kind of mission statement. I think it's just the facts are that particularly when we play the bigger teams, if you like, the more the sort of superpower clubs, is when we make the game feel different, when we make it awkward for them, and by playing our own way and mixing the play and asking different kinds of questions, then we've found that we can win these games and we can find results. And I think that's an important factor. But still kind of that allowance or that trust, if you like, to go and play. Framework and freedom, as I call it. You need a framework to work from. We have one. We believe in it. But then you've got to have that freedom to go and play. And I think we've got to find that balance.
Is it also about finding the spirit of playing at Old Trafford rather than Turf Moor? Because some of your Old Trafford performances against Manchester United have been far better than they have on home ground, haven't they? I mean, you've been brilliant at Old Trafford.
Yeah, but we've got to. I think there's a balance to all these situations. We didn't go there specifically to play only well at Old Trafford compared to home, obviously. We want to reinforce the mentality at home. We want our supporters to play their part in it, which they invariably do, and continue to make Turf Moor feel awkward in itself. And I think these are all the challenges of what we're looking to do. But it starts with it continues the hard work. It always hard work's a massive thing for us. We have to commit to that work, but equally find the quality as well. It's not just you can work smart, not just hard. And I think we're trying to find that balance.
Just a final point from me. I mean, other people might panic in your situation, and other teams will panic in your situation. But I've never thought that that's something that you do as a group or as a manager.
Well, I've just never thought it was that helpful. I believe in process. I believe in organisation. I believe in habits. I believe in what we do. I believe in the automaticity of what we do. There's many good things that we're still doing. They haven't gone away. So it's not. I think it's just not a word that I think is helpful. That's all. I think planning. I think process. I think. Reminding, I think analysis, they're the things that are helpful. So that's what I focus on, and that's what I want the staff and my players to focus on.
Brilliant. Good luck. Thanks very much. See you later.
Cheers.
Thanks, James. Danjul.
Afternoon.
Hey, Eddie, what's happening?
Not so bad, thank you.
Forehead that today, kid.
It's the same forehead as it's always been, but thank you.
It just looks extra large today. Do you remember the Tefal adverts?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks a bit Tefal-like.
I think we've had this conversation before, strangely enough.
Deja vu. Who said that again?
All over again.
Exactly.
You talk about making it awkward at Turf Moor and giving these superpower teams a difficult time when they come to town. What's the atmosphere feel like at the moment in home games? Is it discernibly different? Is it understandable, perhaps, that fans might feel differently?
No, I think there's a little bit of edgy nervousness, and the fans are believing, they're standing by the players, but let's face it, we're not stupid. They want goals, they want wins, they want to continue the strong record we had down the years at Turf Moor and help bring that back. And I think the fans have been terrific. We can't rely on the fans every week. We've got to deliver a performance that can give them that feeling, that good feeling. And I think we're trying to, don't get me wrong. And then the biggest thing of all, let's face it, you win games and fans feel great and they support what you're doing and they support it even more than they normally would do. But I'm certainly not going to question our fans in any way, shape or form. They've been terrific for a long, long time here and they continue to be.
It's one of those perennial football discussions, isn't it? Whether it's the players' jobs to energise the fans or vice versa. Do sometimes supporters just need that little moment of stimulus? It can sometimes be like a tackle or something, can't it?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a two-way thing. It usually is. There's a mutual respect between the players and the fans, which there is here. There's been a clear alignment between the players and the fans here for a long, long time. But yes, it is that scenario. Sometimes it's the team that start the crowd off. Sometimes it's the crowd that start the team off. And it can be something as simple as you suggest. It could be a tackle, a header, a clearance, a finish, a great ball. Lots of things can just change the feel of a stadium. But usually the positivity of a performance, the energy of a performance, the will and desire has to be seen. And when fans see that, particularly our own fans, they remember that the only thing I ever promised here was sweat on the shirt. And so that's the basis we still work from. We want our fans to know we're giving everything to try and win games.
We've talked a lot this season, and indeed in previous seasons, because it's always important, I think, about creativity. What's more important, the kind of quantity of chances that you can create or the quality of the ones that you do create?
Now, usually it's quality. I mean, you see some of them stats we've had ourselves, as you well know. We play teams and maybe the reporter or the opposite manager sometimes say, we had 27 efforts at goal. And when you actually look at them, you go, nah, you didn't really have 27 efforts at goal. We're all, well, certainly myself, I always look at analysis for the quality of chance, because the better quality of chance usually brings the better chance of scoring a goal. So, yeah, I normally look at the quality of chance that we're trying to create or we are creating.
Sometimes does that feel a bit counterintuitive? Because to create a good quality of chance, work and opening, you might have to be more patient when it might feel impulsively like you need to get the ball in there quickly or you need to do something straight away.
It can do, but quality of chances come in many different ways. I mean, on Saturday, I thought considering the conditions, both teams attempting to play. And yet we played a long ball into Val. He headed it around the corner. Maxwell runs through and then he scores a goal. So that can be a quality chance just from a very, very simple moment of play. Sometimes it has to be more intricate, particularly if the team's camped in and you're around the opposition's box. You're finding different ways of creating chances. Sometimes it can be a set piece. Sometimes just literally putting a ball into the box that many times that it sort of creates a melee of a chance. So there's many different ways, and we want to affect games in as many ways as possible. There's not many teams, a handful, who can create chances literally in similar fashion all the time. The most obvious one being Man City. They stick with their game plan no matter what, passing through the zones, passing into the box and around the box. They still rely on crosses now and again. They still rely on set pieces. But generally, they find ways of operating in the opposition's box with the true quality they've got. Most of the teams still have to find a way of scoring a goal, and they're not always pure. Sometimes they're just moments in a game when you find a real high-quality chance out of almost nothing.
I think you've conceded fewer goals in the Premier League than anybody outside of the top 10. So defensively, you're clearly doing something right. Is that a bit of a mixed feelings thing? Does that make it all the more frustrating when you don't convert the chances that you create because you are so close to winning games 1-0?
Well, we've always felt we needed a base to work from, and that being a defensive base and a solid base. Finding the balance of that opening up enough to open the opposition up and then still staying tight enough, as you said, to have a good record, because that is important over a season, your defensive record. And that's always the conundrum. It's always the hardest thing to find. Letting go enough for the team to go and develop an attacking style that can be chance creating and taking chances, of course, but then keeping it tight enough where you can keep that solid unit. And that's always the balance that's required. And it's a tough balance when you're us, and other teams, not just us. A lot of managers out there haven't got some of the attacking prowess of other teams in the division. So it's about how fine you can keep that balance, but how positive you keep that balance to go and win games.
And for understandable reasons, there's been lots of talk in these chats throughout the season about Cornet and now about Weghorst. How do you keep the pressure off them? How do you stop that weight of expectation becoming something that, they'll feel responsible for, if you will?
Well, I would hope they don't. There's certainly no pressure from me. I need to play as part of the team and to deliver as part of the team. I think any other pressures, if you like, if you want to use that word, would be from outside. But no. We brought Wout in for the bigger picture of what he can do, not just score a goal. Can he bring others in? Can he add to the quality level of the performance? We know with Maxwell, he can work off the left. He can work in the number 10 spot and deliver. No, we want these players to come in with the freedom to go and play. They have to adhere to what the team needs as well. But as long as they do that, then they've got the freedom to go and play. And there's certainly no other thought than me that they enjoy their football and playing with that freedom, or certainly trying to find that freedom. Because when you like that, usually you play your best stuff.
And Manchester United's one of those, I think, Sean, where outside of your dressing room and outside of your supporters, there's no great deal of expectation that you'll get something. You've beaten teams like Man United over the years. Liverpool did it last season, of course. Those unexpected ones, those ones that are against expectation, can they prove to be a really good catalyst if you can do it and perhaps defy those expectations?
They can. You have to earn the right. You've got to work very hard against, all sides in the Premier League, but you've got to work very hard against the top sides. We've got, 2, if you include Tottenham as well, coming up as well, 3 in the next number of games, the top sort of end of the market. We've done what we do well against these sides, and that's what's got us them results. And we're going to have to do that again. We're going to have to defend well. We're going to have to play hard. We're going to have to work very hard. We're going to have to find the moments, and that's been tricky this season. But that's our job. That's our responsibility. And now and again, you need maybe a soft performance from the opposition, maybe a good performance from a referee. These things can help get what you want. So we need some of them things, but the main controllable thing is ourselves. Of course, that's the first thing we'll look to control and hope that the rest of it falls into place accordingly.
And with these next couple of games that you mentioned, pragmatically speaking, is anything you get from them a bit of a bonus?
No, I think that's an outside view. People say, well, you've got no chance in certain games. But of course, we don't feel like that, quite obviously. Our mentality is to take on every game to win it. And we've done that very well at times in the past. And as you suggested, when we stopped Liverpool on their run, it was a very good performance. People sometimes forget that. It wasn't just that maybe they had a quieter one, but we played very well that day. We were, very organised, very resolute, but also found some real good pockets of football. So, it can be done. It is more tricky, of course, and the outside world views it differently. But from inside our camp, we're clear-minded on trying to win the game.
Best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Biddy.
Thanks, Dan. Carl, PA.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Hi, just a quick one from me. Does it bother you that at this stage of the season that people are already writing you off? Is that somewhat disrespectful to what you've done previously?
No, well, I think one of the seasons, I think we lost the first game and they said they're in the relegation fight after one game. So trust me, it's not new news. It's we don't want to be part of that news. I can assure you that. We think bigger things than where we are currently about our team and what we're working with. But no, we're not too worried about the noise. I'm certainly not worried about the noise around it. I'm more interested in how my team's performing and how we're looking to win games.
And you look at the table, it's literally just one win away from moving out the bottom 3. It's as simple as that. Just one win gets you going and gets you some momentum.
No, but it certainly helps. It's another start point. Look, these are tough games. We know that. The big ask and all the rest of the things that people say about these games. But if we can take Man United on and get a result, then it suddenly looks different because you've just had 2 clean sheets. If you can add a performance tomorrow and get a result against Manchester United, it just continues to build the mentality. But like I say, it's not a guarantee that you do want to win games, and that does help. Of course, it helps with the stimulus for the whole group.
Thank you, Sean. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Alex Howell, BBC Sport.
Hi, Sean. Just the one question. Roy Hodgson said earlier he doesn't look at the table, and I know you're very game by game, but is there a point when you start looking at the table and that gets important for you?
It's not that you don't literally look at the table. People, you don't need to, but everyone send you messages making you aware where you are. Trust me, it's the weirdest thing about football. Bad news always sounds better than good news. So even your friends, they'll send you, look at where you are on the table. Thanks very much for that, as if I'd forgotten. But no, there's, Roy's like myself in the sense he's been in the game long enough. I have nowadays where at the end of the season when it counts, that's the real table. That's the biggest table that you want to be part of and know where you're at. The bit along the way is the journey. So I certainly don't stare at it. I know where we're at. I know our stats and our facts. I know where we need to be. And we're not where we want to be at the moment. So we've got to correct that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alex. Alex James.
You see if I've got any in the
Hi, Sean.
Hiya.
Are you all right? Yeah. Or do you need? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just I forgot. I normally bring a bottle of water. I'll go and get me a bottle of water. So this
No worries, no worries.
needs it taken care of.
You mentioned that season 2018-19, I think it was, when you had 12 points at this point of the campaign, and I guess it's an easy comparison to draw as well. Do you sort of see enough in what you've got there in the players, and most of them were there for that season as well, that you've got that sort of drive, character, the attributes to repeat what you did that year? And I think you finished 15th in the end that season.
Yeah, absolutely. Simple as that. I think no, I mean it sincerely. I think we've got a good group there. You know, it's been a head scratcher for me, you know, because I think we've performed better than what the points on the table are, but we haven't got the points, so that's just a fact. So therefore, we've got to correct that. But no, I believe in this group, absolutely.
Is it perhaps the most frustrating sort of part of management when you look at a team and you think, oh yeah, we've played pretty well there, but somehow we've taken either no points or 2 points from 7 games or whatever it might be, that you think, that's really frustrating. We're doing everything we possibly can. We're playing well. We're doing, you know, performing well enough to earn more points, but it's just not translating quite into victories on the pitch.
Well, we're nearly doing everything we can because we're not scoring enough goals. So we're nearly doing everything we can. What I'm suggesting is there has to be a base level of performance that allows you a belief in what you do to do all the things that you need to do. And I think our base level has been good enough to allow ourselves the chance to get more points on the table. But we haven't taken the big moments, and we haven't always found the right defensive moment, decision, etc., etc. So don't get me wrong, these things have got to change. You know, your madness if you just think you're going to carry on doing what you're doing, it's all going to change. So therefore, we've got to change, we've got to adapt. But what I'm saying is that the base of what we do is not a million miles away from where we need to be. It's the real moments of details, and that's been what's costing us all season. And we've still got to work hard to get on the right side of it.
Yeah, you mentioned sort of something has to change, I guess, as you said there. Do you sort of feel a need to tweak? You said after the game on Saturday about different combinations. We've seen Dale Stevens come in. We've seen Connor Roberts come in. I think in that 2018-19 season, you brought Dwight in at this point. You restored Tom Heaton as well. Do you feel like you have to try and do something in terms of personnel or shape just to provide some sort of catalyst, I guess?
Well, I feel like we are actively looking at the group and actively looking to see how we can change things, mould it slightly differently, give it a different edge, a different feel. Of course, that's the whole point of having a squad, you know, and that's what we're looking to do. But finding the combination and the players finding the combination as well on the football pitch, that's the next step. You know, we can all pick a team, put it on paper, we can work with it in training, but finding them real connections in a performance, you know, that can sometimes work very quickly and it clicks, or takes a little bit of repetitive work, you know, on the training pitch and in games. We're looking for that to happen quickly, quite obviously, whatever change we make. But equally, I have a belief in all the squad. So if I don't change it, it's sometimes because I believe in all of them. It's not necessarily just one team or the other, it's all the players.
A lot's made, and I think we've touched on this before, but it's very easy for us or supporters to say, oh, let's go 3 at the back, or let's play 3-4-3 or whatever it might be. But I guess it's not quite as straightforward as that, given the work that's required on the training ground to go and produce in the Premier League a formation that you're not sort of used to playing with.
It's not really about that. It's about everyone has a view. I've heard many in my time in football. I have my view. I'm the manager. I'll do what I think is correct to win games, and I'll stand by that willingly.
On the creativity and perhaps the goal scoring as well, in Wiles and Max, who played together for the first time, obviously on Saturday, do you sort of see a pair in there that can complement each other and bring those quality of chances perhaps more frequently than we've seen so far this season?
Well, I'm still not overthinking it. We've still got Jay Rodriguez who's hungry to play. We've got Vince obviously injured but coming back. We've got Barnes coming back. Look, we want the combination of whoever plays there. Maxwell gives us, he can play for the wide as well, don't forget. You know, he gives us that little edge at times. You know, and he came back a little bit rusty the other day, but he'll get sharper again. He hasn't played a lot of football. You've got to remember he went away. He was injured before he went away. Hasn't played a lot of football there. Hasn't trained the same intensity and level that we do here. You know, judging by the stats that is. So that'll take him a bit of time. But we know he's a good player. He can give us that flexibility. But there's other players I believe in, you know, for different reasons, different performers, for different reasons, tactically, the understanding of the performance and how they deliver.
Last one from me. We've spoken about sort of Bernie staying calm and yourself preaching that message of good habits and reaffirming what you've done in the past. Do you feel under any more pressure, I guess, for want of a better word, given the league position now, or is it just every day's the same in that sense for yourself?
Well, I've certainly not been preaching. I'll just remind you, I'll just remind you of the things we do. I think they're important. I don't feel anything other than the fact that the pressure I put on myself to win games, the pressure I want my staff to be under, the pressure the players to win. There's a different kind of internal pressure. You know, we have our own kind of pressure that we want to advance into. You know, we want to build up. Players need that as well. We have our own internal thoughts for what we do, but it's just a different kind of pressure than outside. It's a positive pressure for what we're looking at. You know, the challenge right in front of us. So that's the world that I live in. I'm used to it. It's a massive part of my life.
Nice one. Thanks, Sean. All the best tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Alex. That's the end of the broadcast section. So can all cameras be turned off, please?
Cheers. Cheers, Billy.
Thank you.